Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. And we all know negative people. And part of the QLA model is to stay away from negative people. Stay away from people that have nothing good to say. And we're most of you are in business environments that you can't really differentiate because they're there, and it's almost impossible for you to be away from that. But as you grow and as you build your own organizations, you don't have to have that negative shit. And words matter, and it's like we used to have a thing back in the 90s in business that I was chairman of. Not if you said a swear word, you had to put $100 in the jar. If you said a negative word, and these fuckers didn't have $100. Only 3 or 4 of the senior managers had $100, and it cleaned up, not overnight, but almost overnight. There was no negative words said because I didn't give a shit. And I told the CEO, we don't give a shit. They can't afford $100. They will come up with a fucking $100. So we had 5 or 6 people have to put up $100, and we never had a negative thought.
I actually fired negative people.
Yeah.
Fired 8 people.
Are they Russian?
No.
No.
I don't have any Russians.
So you learned that.
I have people. I don't have Russians.
Okay.
Can I say something before the
Sure.
night goes on and
Sure.
I'm unable to say something?
Okay.
The thing that attracted me and never ceased to amaze me about Mr. Peña and QLA is that it's, you see other methods of making yourself, but all they are repetitions of themselves. They really are a cult. But when you see QLA, you see people in various fields, like Roberto, like Gerard, like so many others, succeed. And it's the ability to take QLA and make it what you want. But that's because Mr. Peña allows that. He gives you the knowledge, and you grow your scale. I know that's what, and really, I mean, Graham and Leanne is far better off to say this than I am, but he grows your scale, and he gives you a bigger vision of what you're thinking at the time, and it's not just a kind of one box for everybody. It's what you can make of it. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. We saw Marcus, we saw Andreas, Simon, Jason, and they're all doing things in a variant of QLA. It's a variant. It's not 100%, but it's a variant, and it all works. And that's for me, that is the sign. That's why I came here. That's why this is the third time I've come, because it's the sign of really what works.
And to me, saying it a little different, being all you can be is a full-time job. And the closer you get to being all you can be in your life, it doesn't make a shit what industry, what vertical you're in. It works. It just does. It's not magic or anything like that. For some of you, it's magic because it makes you be accountable for yourself in every action in your life. And that is magic because nobody teaches that. And maybe 1 or 2 of you had high-performance parents that a model, okay? Mitchell has his mom and dad, which can be more high performance, okay? But at least they had a basis. And they set the right parameters, as the Guma brother senior said when he drives his 10-year-old to school. And he says, tune down the tape, Dad. They don't understand. And he's 10. Not dissimilar to when you started, Mitchell. And the more kids, if I'd had the influence I have now, 30, 40 years ago, you'd see swaths of swaths around the world that were super high performance people. But I mean, it's the kids that I've had the privilege of working with are based on the stuff that I learned from the Onassis people, from the senior Siemens people, from the military, the SEALs, etc. that I've had the privilege of training. But it gets down to you implementing it. You. Every day, from the time, you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, blah, blah, blah. And someday, down the road, it will become your default, like it is mine. It's been my default 30, 40 years. But I don't even think about not doing it now. It doesn't even dawn on me not to do the things I do. And it's gratifying that now, in my late 70s, that I see all these kids. It's even more gratifying for me when you exit and you hit the cash register. Because I know what a lot of money does to change your life. I mean, as we sat and I say, we've been rich and we've been poor. There's no fucking comparison. There's just none. But it works. The dynamite thing is, as Michael alluded to, it works no matter what you do, no matter what industry you're in. If you apply the principles and you follow the steps and you keep yourself inundated in it and listening to the tapes and another couple of webinars that Roberto did, he says he jump starts himself by listening to me screaming in one of my tapes. And then when he goes to the gym, he re-jump starts himself by listening. You know how most people listen to some stuff while they're in the gym. But there's no question that it works. And now, more and more, there's no question that it works at a high level. And that's what I plan on doing, and I will do in politics here. Whether it resonates as well as I hope and pray that it should, that's another question. Whether Angus is so far underground that they're not willing to seek help, we'll see soon enough. But I'm still going to coach. As I said earlier, the good thing is in British politics you can have a job. I'll stop coaching when I become a minister, and obviously when I become prime minister. I won't. Yeah, I won't. Thank you. But see, most Scottish politicians wouldn't have the grit, the balls to say that. You're right, and I'm as I told 2 or 3 of the interviews I've had, I'm not doing this to be a fucking councilman or some bullshit. I'm entering politics to be prime minister. And then they asked me 2 or 3 questions. Well, you're American, but I'm also British now. So let's get that straight, okay? As of October 12th.
You have been since.
Pardon?
You have been since you came.
Yeah, but but I've been here 37 fucking years, and I've seen no change.
Yes. So
No change.
That's your.
Yeah, and so you've been here 30 years? No, I've been here 37 fucking years, and I have, and I've seen no change. And
it's got worse.
Huh? Exactly. Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah. Why is there still only
That's the change, huh?
Why is there only There's only 5.1 million people here in Scotland. When I got here 37 years ago, there was only 5.1. But anyway, other questions, comments from anybody? Yes.
I was going to ask you what's going to happen to us when you're going to be prime minister. But I got
Well, for those of you that are in Britain, okay. For those of you that are in Britain, vote early and vote often, as they say in Chicago. But I'm still going to be available, and I'm still going to be, online. Everything will be free. But the prime minister, I won't be giving any seminars. And unlike Boris the baboon, when I ask senior wealthy people in Britain, how in the fuck is he still in office? And they say basically the Chancellor of the Exchequer and a couple, 3 other guys that could have had a run at office have no balls because they're afraid if they don't make it, their political careers are over. And in addition to that, they can't make a living in business. Which I already kind of assumed that. But there aren't that many, if any, truly successful people in politics. I'm meeting with Lord Sugar in the next couple of months, and he's a high-profile guy, independent, and I'm going to ask him. I already know the answer. Why in the fuck have you never gone into politics? I know what the answer is. But I mean, he's not dissimilar to myself. He's an independent now. But, you know, the truly best people, unfortunately, stay away from politics. And that's the main reason I've stayed away in the United States the 4 times I had legitimate offers from the various parties to run for politics. But my material will always be around. And for those of you that did your homework, you know, and Kim tells me, do a check, Kim, you know, oh, he'll take your call. Okay. Or he's busy. I'm sorry. Thank you.
But it's a different story to being around you.
Yeah, well, that's true. People say it's different being around me.
If you got a chance before you become Prime Minister, I'm coming back as long as you're doing this stuff. I'm coming back. And a lot of people ask me, why are you coming back? I'm assuming you're receiving the same questions over and over again.
You know what? When I came, I had that question.
Why did you
I don't
come
have
back?
that question anymore.
You know why they came back? You know?
Yeah.
And now you know, I expect to see Mitchell again, and
He's moved in.
I mean, it's a great feeling to see the second generation of my mentees, and so far the second generations have been more successful than the first generation, and I don't expect any different from Mitchell. I mean, I cried when he was playing the bagpipe. I mean, it was terrific. And I didn't know that was going to happen. And again, those of you that filmed it, please send it to Kim. I want to memorialize that. But right now, with Corona still being around, with Ukraine, etc., it's even with interest rates edging up a little, the opportunities we have are just monumental. They're beyond your wildest imagination. And it's terrific. I mean, it's just so terrific. And again, I mean, some people say, Dan, you know, you're leading people to take advantage of the disadvantage. I don't look at it that way. And I sure as hell don't want you to look at it that way. I mean, people dig their own hole, okay? People made money during the Depression and all the economics ups and downs of the last 100 years. There's no reason you can't. You're doing it honestly, ethically, morally. There's nothing dishonest about the QLA system whatsoever. We're taking advantage of the fact that debt is almost free, and you don't have to have equity injections. You don't. And, you know, not dissimilar to Andrew Carnegie 120, 130 years ago. And what I've added to the Andrew Carnegie model is seller finance, dream team seller finance. Now, he had a quasi dream team, but he fucked him. Or he fucked his best buddy, which doesn't surprise me. It may surprise some of you, not just because he's Scottish.
No, he's from Fife. You know that.
He's from Fife. That's kind of an in-house joke of Scott. Yeah. But I mean, kids, fuck. It's easy peasy. And when Mitchell and I had our one-on-one, and I asked him what questions, he asked me a couple of things. They were actually more sophisticated than most of the questions I got from you fucking morons. And he gets it. Now, admittedly, he's been listening to this stuff 3-4 years. Okay. And you can't listen to this for 3 or 4 years and not learn something. And he doesn't have the baggage most people in this room have. And I said 4 or 5 times, just imagine for a microsecond, if you had been listening to this shit since you're 10, 11 years old, and you're 14 when you come here, fuck, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, it's still our oyster.
Well, I know, but the oyster's bigger for him. It's bigger for him. And my experience with other teenagers, I mean, the kids, you know, just eat this shit up alive. they see little or none of the downside. When, unfortunately, as adults, we don't focus on little or none of the downside. We think downside is big. Instead of speed bumps, we think it's Mount Everest. And and they're willing to take action without, spreadsheeting the goddamn thing to death. Other questions, comments from anybody? Well, you let me go to bed early. I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't have to sit here. Sally, hasn't. I'm sorry, Sally. But yes, sir.